car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Well, good news. We have the owner of Frontier Motors with us, present live and accounted for right here in the studio. Ready, willing, and certainly more than able to answer any questions you might have. If you do have questions, say you want to get the price of a car or a truck or an SUV, direct it to us, but do it by phone, 478-3116, 478-3116. For the next half hour, we will be pleased to allow you to speak with Iven Streckel with Frontier Motors on this edition of Talk at 10 on News Talk 1370 WCOA. It's the Frontier Motors Show. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Don, that was a pretty good introduction.
It was. Better than usual.
After about 20 years, you've got it down pat. And like Don said, this is the Frontier Motor Show, and for the next 30 minutes, we're going to be talking cars. We are live on the Talk Radio Show at 1370 AM. We're also videotaping this for satellite and cable customers at Blab TV. So if you're watching this on TV, it's probably a recorded show, but on the bottom of the screen, you'll see our phone number at Frontier Motors. And so you'll know that there is a dealership in Pensacola. That's a used car dealership that you can call when you're in the market for a car. Now, that might not be today. I have so many customers that have listened to the show that said, you got some really good information, and I never thought I was going to need a car, but somebody just broadsided me at the stoplight, and now I need a brand new car. So there's a lot of things that we help people in the Pensacola area with, and I'm not just talking about selling them cars. I'm talking about giving them advice no matter where they buy a car, whether it be new or used, whether it be from a private individual or a car dealership, to make sure that they don't pay too much and that they're getting a square deal, and also that they're getting good money for their vehicle that they're maybe trading in or selling themselves, and also that they're getting a good deal on the interest rates if they're financing it, and other questions like, should I buy an extended warranty, not buy an extended warranty? These are all the things that we help people with the Frontier Motors on a daily basis. And Frontier Motors is going on our 21st year in business. I know Don and I kind of joke about it because Don and I have been doing the show for 20 years now. And Don started when he was 50, and now he's 70. I don't know if you even want me to talk about that on the air, Don.
Yeah.
Are you embarrassed
I'm happy
that
I lived this long.
All right, that's good. Well, actually, I think you look better now with your gray hair than you looked when you were younger.
What do you mean gray? This is platinum blonde.
Oh, is it? Do you color that?
Yeah. I wish.
And I'm 60 and proud of it. And I was 40 when we started, Don.
Yep.
So we have done
Time
the show
does get by
for a long time. And there's so many customers that I meet at the dealership that say, I've been listening to that talk radio show for years and years, and I've had my car for 15 years now, and I finally need you. And it's really interesting because when I got in the car business back in 1975, the average age of a vehicle on the road was 7 years. Right now, the statistics are 11.2 years is the average car on the road. So if you let's say you only own one car, that means every 11 years somebody buys a car. Well, you don't have very good practice buying or selling if you're selling a car. And that's where we come in to help. Because what I can do is more than just give you the book values. Right now, we've got these little NADA guidebooks that we use at the dealership. And the reason we use this little guidebook is because this is the one that the bankers and the credit unions and the insurance companies in our area use. You can't get this book online, by the way, unless you're a dealer. So we share this information with you. The ones they have online are the Kelley Blue Book and the Edmunds. And unfortunately, none of our banking institutions in our area use that book. Now, that doesn't mean that this is what the car is worth. That means what a banker's willing to loan you. The way that I find out what the real value is, I compile the data from the Black Wholesale Guidebook, which of course is on a phone these days, on a smartphone. We don't actually get this book. Matter of fact, the book I'm holding up is from 2014. I believe that's the last book I got. I better cherish this book because I haven't ordered one since because it's all electronic. But this information that in this wholesale guidebook is very important because that's what's going on at the auctions. And if I know what I can buy a car for at the auctions, I can tell you what I can sell that car for. Now, hypothetically, if this NADA guidebook says that the retail on a particular car is $25,000, but if I can buy that same car wholesale using the Black Guidebook for $20,000, well, then this book is too high. Because try as I might, there's no way that we can get away with making $5,000 on a car. And the reason is because it's a competitive world out there. and the retail book is $25,000 and wholesale at the auction is $20,000, I would say more of a realistic price is somewhere between $22,000 and $23,000 after you account for the shipping, the auction fee, the buy fee, the setup, the detail of the vehicle, filling it up with gas, changing the oil, and then making a profit on it. So if that was the case, this $25,000 NEDA guidebook would be way too high by at least $2,000, maybe even $3,000. And that's where we come in at Frontier Motors to tell you, are the books high or are they low? And if you're using the Kelly Blue Book or the Edmunds, it doesn't matter to me. What I do is I can get right into the Manheim auction reports, which are the largest chain of auctions in the world. And we're lucky enough to have the second largest one in the nation right here in Orlando within driving distance. Matter of fact, I have a buyer that left this morning to drive to Orlando to buy cars in Orlando on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at Tampa. So he actually physically goes to those auctions, but I can look at the data on those auctions. In Orlando, they will run between 4,500 and 6,000 cars all on Tuesday morning. That's a lot of cars, folks. In the South alone, I have between 15 and 20,000 cars in our area that run every single week. And that's where I pull my vehicles out of, because sometimes I can't get them in Pensacola. Pensacola has got a Manheim auction right here on W Street, and it's a real nice auction, and we know all the people there, but they run between 450 to 600 cars on Tuesday. Orlando is up to 6,000 cars. So when I send my buyer there, people always ask me, well, Ivan, where do you get cars with 20 and 30 and 50 miles on it? Well, I get them at the larger auctions where the manufacturers go to sell their cars. The manufacturers don't go to Pensacola to sell their cars. For example, I had a sale at Mitsubishi's a couple of weeks ago where I bought 7 Mitsubishis. I think the highest mileage one was 50 miles. We only have, I think we got 3 left. One with 26 miles, one with 20 miles, and one with 30-some miles. Then I bought a Highlander in Orlando with 300 miles on it, a Dodge Challenger with 500 miles on it, a Sprinter diesel cargo van with 500 miles on it, and the list goes on and on. I think you're getting my gist that if you are in the market, do what Consumers Report says. They say, take advantage of the depreciation. They finally put in writing what I've been talking about for years and years. They said that in April's edition that the average new car depreciates 27% the first year. Now, I never knew that. I knew that it depreciated a lot. I just didn't know how much. I would look at individual cars. They compiled all the data. United States first year depreciation was $9,200. Actually, I'm exaggerating. It's $9,180 the first year. That's 1 year depreciation. In the second year, you lose another 10%, so you lose 37% of the value of the car. And in the third year, you lose another 9%. So in 3 years, you lose almost 50% of the value of a new car. And Consumers Report says that what you could be doing is perhaps buying a 1-year-old nicer car than a brand new car of current model. In other words, they use an example of a Honda Civic. You could buy a Honda Civic brand new or buy a 1-year-old Accord at the same price and get a car that's bigger, it's got a bigger trunk, that drives nicer, that's quieter and has more amenities and still is under factory warranty because it's 1 year old. A Honda, for example, comes with a 3-year warranty, so you still have 2 years of warranty left. People always ask me, well, how does the warranty work on a car? When I got in the industry, Don, I don't know if you remember this way, way back. Well, you know back further than me because
I'm older
10 years older than me.
10 years older than you.
You remember years ago that when you bought a car, and I'm talking about probably in the 60s,
right,
that you had to actually transfer the warranty and pay a small fee. I don't know if you remember that because you probably didn't buy new cars back then. I was going to
say, I'm not that old.
But they actually,
I was just a kid then.
The car actually went with the warranty went with the individual. So when you sold your car, you had to re-register the new individual and pay like $25, and then the warranty would go with that new person.
Okay, I do remember people complaining.
Yeah, something like that. It's a pain in the butt. And they were hoping you didn't do that because then the warranty was out. Back then, I remember when I got in the car business, the warranty was 1 year. Mm-hmm. It was 12 months is all it was. And then they went to 2 years. And then now the average is 3 years. Of course, Honda and Kia and Mitsubishi's got it made because they've got a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty, the best warranty in the business. But I'm getting off track a little bit. What I'm talking about is that the way the warranties work is that every car has a scan bar. just like at the grocery store. So if you open the door, you can actually see a scan bar. Some of the GM cars have it right on the windshield where the VIN number is, the ID number, and they have a little box right there. Well, that's a code. And my phone can take a picture of that, and boom, all of the information on that car pops on my phone by the scan bar, and it'll tell me how old that car was. In other words, if the vehicle was first put into service 12 months ago, I can calculate that, 12 months are gone. And if you have a 48-month warranty, I've still got 3 years of warranty left on that car. And the car now is under warranty. There's nothing you have to do. I always urge someone that buys a car from Frontier Motors to make sure that they call the individual franchise in our area. So if you're buying a Chevy, you would either call Pete Moore or Sandy Stansing, ask for the service department and say, hey, I just bought this car. I want to register my name as the owner of that car. That way, if there's any bulletins or updates or recalls, everybody knows the recalls these days with these airbag recalls going on, that you get the proper information if there's an update or a recall so you know about it, because sometimes there are things that actually the manufacturer does that you don't really know if they're going to extend a warranty. Honda had this a couple years ago with transmission problems. So anybody that had ownership of a particular vehicle was sent a letter saying that we are going to cover you in case you have a transmission problem with this particular car, because they didn't all break. But that way you knew that was free. Because what if you didn't know that? And your transmission failed at 70,000 miles, the drivetrain warranty on a Honda is up to 60,000 miles, and now you'd go over to one of the transmission places and you'd put a new transmission, you'd have to pay for it. Well, if you register yourself with that manufacturer, they would send you that update, and then you would know that, hey, this is covered for free because of a bulletin, because of an ongoing situation that they had with that particular vehicle. So I always urge anybody to make sure that they do that. $2,000 more than the Lexus dealership because they had 13 of the same car in stock. So their used car manager didn't really need that car. So, of course, he would appraise it because they're trying to sell a new car, but he appraised it lower than what he normally would because he had 13 of them that weren't moving. So, therefore, you got a low appraisal. The other example I always use, if you go to a Jaguar dealership and you're driving an F350 diesel truck, they don't have too much use for your F350 at a Jaguar used car lot. So you might get a lower appraisal based on that. At Frontier Motors, because we do business in every make and model, you're going to get a good appraisal because we do business in diesel trucks, four-wheel drives. We do business in luxury cars, in sports cars, in little economy cars. It doesn't really matter what you have. So what we'll do is we will give you a backup buy bid, so to speak. So when you go to the new car dealership, you've got that slip of paper that's an appraisal in your pocket, so that if I tell you I'll pay you $20,000 for your car, and the dealer comes back and says I'll give you $18,000, you can say no. Wait a minute, I'm buying a car from you. I'm not buying a car from Frontier Motors. I'm not even doing business with them, and they're willing to pay me $20,000. I think if you're buying a car from someone, and let's say you're spending $35,000, which is the average car cost of a new car last year, if you're going to be buying a $35,000 car somewhere, don't you think they should give you more than what we give you? So I'm giving you a buy bid of $20,000. I think they should give you at least $21,000 if you're spending money with them. Normally, if somebody's buying a car from me, I'll normally give them a little bit more to try to entice them to make sure that they trade with me. But not everybody wants to buy a used car. And again, even though some of the cars that I have are the alternative to new, because I have cars with very low miles on them, and I normally try to keep between 100 to 150 cars on the lot with less than 19,000 miles on it. Can you imagine that, folks? We have 350 cars on the lot right now. Actually, it was 346 of this morning with another truckload coming in. So probably about 355 cars. And out of those, almost more than half of those have under 20,000 miles on them that are still in a factory warranty. So you've got a lot to choose from if you don't know what you want. I'm getting off track a little bit when we talk about the second opinion on the value of your car. But the other thing we can help you with while you're getting that appraisal on your car, maybe you just trip across the car that you might like at Frontier Motors. It works very well for us because we don't pressure you into buying a car from us when you're there to get an appraisal. We'll tell you, okay, here's your car. We'll put it in writing. This appraisal is good for 7 days. We'll write you $20,000 as long as you don't smash the car up in the meantime, or as long as nothing breaks in the meantime. So that way you've got a 7-day window to go ahead and go anywhere you want and buy a car, and we'll write the check for $20,000 to you, or we'll write it to the dealership so you can trade it in. I'll buy it right from the dealership. make it very easy for you. But while we're appraising your car, it might take 15 minutes to do that. Maybe I'll have a 2016 or 17 model on the lot with very low miles on it, where your next question, of course, is going to be, well, how much can you save me over the price of a new one? And normally the rule of thumb is if I can save you somewhere between $2,000 and $6,000, which I know is a big gap, but it depends on the car that you're buying. Some cars, like a small Chevy Spark, I might only be able to save you $2,000. We sold one the other week with 100 miles on it. I think the savings was like $2,500. The tax on $2,500 was another couple $100, and our dock fee was $200 less. So they saved about $3,000, but the car had, I think it had less than 100 miles on it. They saved $3,000. For that person, that was enough. I was kind of make fun of the person. I'm not using their name, of course, but this was about 5 years ago where I told a customer that came in looking at a Lexus was an LS460, which is the largest, most expensive Lexus they made back then. It was about a $75,000 car. I was able to save that gentleman. I happen to have one in stock with 3,000 miles on it. I told him I can save you $10,000 over the price of a new one. He said, well, that's just not enough. And he went and bought a brand new one. I said, that guy's got more money than he knows what to do with. Can you imagine? I could have sold him one and thrown in a $10,000 extra car that he could have given to one of his grandkids for nothing. But he didn't think that was enough savings, which is very unusual. So I kind of say that in jest. Frontier Motors have been in business for a long time, and we have lots of great customers. Every once in a while, they even write us little thank you notes. And I brought some of them with us because I want people to know that we not only do services for our customers to be, but we do sell cars. And the feedback we get from our customers is very important because we want to make sure that what I'm talking about right here on the radio/TV show actually happens when you come in, because we do things a little bit differently at Frontier Motors. Don, we have some examples that I brought.
I do indeed. This one is from Deborah, and she said that my family and extended family have bought vehicles from you in the past. We've always been very pleased. This was my first time purchasing a car alone since my husband passed away 8 years ago. I almost dreaded the experience, but RJ was my salesperson. He made me feel very, very comfortable. On my first visit, we did not even go out and look at any vehicles. We stayed at his desk, and he answered my many questions. He encouraged me to do my research, and I did. And when I found what I wanted, we made the deal. I never felt pressured. I never felt rushed to buy anything. I definitely will and have recommended Frontier Motors to others. Thank you for making a potentially bad experience a good one. And as I said, that was from Deborah. Mm-hmm. How about another one here? Here's one from Rebecca. Your salesperson, Corey Wilkes, was an absolute delight. He was knowledgeable. He was patient with my wishy-washy mom. Frontier Motors is an excellent business. It's staffed with helpful and caring salespeople who do not pressure shoppers, but instead seem to enjoy helping their customers find the right vehicle for their particular needs. You got time for one more?
All right, let's do it. One
I
more.
saw this one. This one was from Timothy. The friendliness and profession of Frontier Motors was expected, as was the quality of the vehicle. What I didn't expect was how fast my deal got done, and exactly on the terms that I wanted, on exactly the car that I wanted. I went in looking at different vehicles because I didn't think I could work with anything else. Boy, was I wrong. I couldn't be happier. When I say my deal got done fast, I mean in less than 2 hours, I was driving away in my new Chrysler 300C. Thanks to Todd, to Don, to Calvin for a job well done. Frontier Motors is first class, from Timothy.
Thanks, Don. And it's really interesting in Pensacola area. I've got the registrations right here, and they talk about all the dealerships. And there's 105 used car dealerships in our area and 21 new car dealerships in our area. And I always talk about a little bit on the show of what sets us apart from these other dealers. And one of the things that we really pride ourselves on, the fact that we're not like a regular dealership where you come in, everybody jumps on you, and the one thing that they have in mind every day when they get to work is, what can I do to sell a car today? And you know how that feeling is when you go to a car dealership and the salesman, can I help you? And then they're going to follow you around, and, you feel a little intimidated. And a lot of people like to shop on Sundays because they don't have that salesman walking behind you. And what we do at Frontier Motors, our salespeople unlock every single car every morning. We give you a price list that looks like this. that's got the description of the car, the mileage, because obviously a lot of the speedometers are all digital, so you don't know how many miles are on the car, so we put the mileage on here. We also put on here the NADA book value, which is this book value, and then we also put on our sale price that's on the internet. And of course, we always honor the internet price, and we have to be very competitive when we put an internet price out there because we want to make sure that if it's not the lowest price that we have available, if there's a couple of them that are less, that we want the nicest conditioned car and the nicest equipment car and also the best color and the lowest miles. And those are all the things that makes the difference. Not always the price that's the most important thing. It's the condition of the car. And what sets us apart also, because we unlock every one of our vehicles, you can shop by yourself if you want. Now, a lot of our customers know we're only open until 6 o'clock at night, which is unusual for a car dealership. We want our salespeople to be home with their family at night rather than working till 8 or 9 o'clock. So our customers have to come during the day, which means they are sometimes at a crunch as far as how much time they have to spend with us. So they need salesperson's help to direct them in the right path as far as a particular car they're looking for. When you have between 350 and 400 cars on the lot, it could take you 3 hours just to find the car you're looking for. So our salespeople are expert at knowing what we have in inventory and what's coming in. So what they'll do is they will help you, and they won't pressure you into making a decision until you're ready. I believe it's our job to give you the price of what the product is and to let you know what will pay you for your car. We don't ask stupid questions like, well, what do you want to pay for ours? Make us an offer. What do you want for yours? What do you want your payments to be? What we're going to do is we're going to give you all that information. We're going to tell you here, our car is $25,000. We can discount it down to $24,300. We can give you $20,000 for yours on a trade-in. That's the balance of this dollar amount. Here's the taxes and the dock fee. Here's your out-the-door figure. And we circle it. We make a copy of that. We give it to you and say, if you're not ready right now, come on back when you are. We have to be very confident when we do this to make sure we give you a good price, because if our price is too high or the car is not nice enough, we won't see you again. But we feel so confident in letting you walk out because most of our customers always come back. And even if we're not the lowest, if I tell you my out-the-door figure is $20,000 with everything included, and let's say you happen to find one for $19,500, most of the time the person will come back and say, you know what, I didn't like that one. I said, what was wrong? Well, you could tell as soon as you opened the door, it was a smoker's car. And you know how that is. You can never get the smell out of it. I've had that before. Or they go there and they find out the car is $500 less, but the spare tire is missing. It's got a small crack in the windshield. It only has one key. There's no gas in it, and the inside of the tires are cupped. So when you go down the road at 55 miles an hour, you hear it. That's everybody's had that, but it's $500 less. So they end up back on our doorstep because our cars are set up properly. I'm very proud. My brother actually runs the back end of our. When I say the back end, the shop,
and he has for many years.
For years, for about 15 years now, and his job to make sure that when those cars are on the lot, that those cars are ready to go, that there's no check engine lights on, that they've been cleaned up properly, that they smell good, that if they need tires, that the tires are put on, that if it's got a small ding in it, we'll take it out. But we don't buy cars that are project cars. We don't want to have to clean up a car, so to speak, to make it a nice car. We want to buy a car that's already a nice car, maybe have to bosh it and buff it and put it on the lot, and that's about it. So we make sure we run the Carfax report, the auto check report on every car before we buy it. And if there's any issues, we don't put the car on the lot. And it can be something as simple as running a history report and finding out the car. I had this happen with a Mercedes last year where I ran the history report and the car was in the shop almost every 2 months needing a new battery. Now, what do you think the problem with that is? Now, this car was out of factory warranty. So, Don, if you had to put a new battery in your Mitsubishi you bought from us every 2 months for 4 months in a row, you might have a little drain problem, right?
I would say so, yeah. There's something going on here.
So needless to say, the history reports don't necessarily mean that there's salvage car, or flood car, or odometer problem car, or lemon law buyback. It could be something as simple as the car is from Alaska. Now, you'd want to know about that, wouldn't you? If that car came from Alaska. And, you know, I've never visited Alaska, but it's on my bucket list, and I don't think that we should frown on Alaskans. But wouldn't you want to check that car out for rust, just in case? I'm from Wisconsin. I never had a problem selling a Wisconsin car in Wisconsin. But Don, since I moved down here, I used to drag cars down here from Wisconsin. We used to ship them.
Right.
And people said, you know, well, I don't want to buy a car from Wisconsin. This is when I didn't have any experience with Pensacola.
Right.
I said, well, what's wrong with that? They said, well, you know, those roads up there are awful. They put salt on those roads and then rusts out the cars. I said, well, you can look at this car. There's no rust on it. I know, but it's going to have rust on it. So now what happens, Don, if I have a choice, I don't buy cars from Wisconsin.
Even though it may not be.
Oh, it could be perfect.
Right.
Now, if the car's a year old, I don't worry about it because the car's not going to rust out in a year. But let's say it's a 5-year-old car and it's from New York.
Right.
And I had this happen at the Atlanta auction last week. For some reason, they had Hondas there, Don. They had about 25 Hondas, and I could have bought them all. They were all low mileage Honda Civics and Accords. And I thought, well, I'll buy these cars. Every single one was from New York.
Yeah. Well, what happens if it's a 5-year-old car from Pensacola Beach?
People don't ask about that.
Yeah. Speaking of rusting out, you're surrounded by salt air 24/7.
24/7. You know, they have those houses on pilings.
Yeah.
So you put your car underneath. It's not even in the garage.
Right.
In the morning, you got to wipe the windows off because you got salt everywhere. It's a sticky mess.
Yeah.
But nobody ever frowns about that. But anyways, I'm getting off subject a little bit. I'm just saying the Carfax on our cars are in the glove box. You don't have to ask for them. And our cars are unlocked. Isn't that something different? And if you don't want to buy a car today, we don't get mad at you. We say, well, whenever you're ready, come on back. And that's how we've been doing business in Pensacola going on 21 years now. We started out with 25 to 30 cars on the lot, selling about 30 cars a month. And now we have between 300 and 400 cars on lot, and we sell between 200 and 275 a month. And most of that's repeat customers that have come in and said, man, I really like the way you guys do business. It's such an easy thing. I was going to be stressed out. I'm not used to buying cars. I hate spending that kind of money. I never know if I'm getting a good deal. But we have all the information to let you know that our price is fair. On top of that fair price, you're going to get a superior product, an excellent condition, in a good color, with more equipment and lower mileage than anybody else. And that's what's going to set us apart. And then we're going to make it fun. It's going to be easy. You're not going to be stressed out. And if you are, then we tell you, hey, regroup, go home, think about it, go shop. We have a program called Price Driver where we know what everybody else has and what they're selling for. So it really helps us to make sure that when we give you a price that we are the best price or the best car, like I said before. But that's just some of the things that we offer. We've only got a minute left, so I wanted to remind you to go on our website, and you're going to see 21 to 31 detailed photographs. They all have prices, by the way. All of our cars have prices on them. Facebook, we've got a great Facebook page, so you can like us on Facebook. Sometimes we'll put some pictures of our customers that just recently bought cars from us. We also have this show is going to be on YouTube in a couple days, so you can just Google Frontier Motors on YouTube, and you're going to be able to watch this show if you are so bored that you're actually going to do that. But if you are, that's fine with me. And, of course, we also air this on Blab TV about 15 times a month. Again, that's Frontier Motors, 230 Beverly Parkway. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
It can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We've got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors. Low overhead.